So, this episode is going to be again about When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chödrön, or however, I actually do want to look it up how she's pronounced, because I don't know, and I kind of feel like quote-unquote dumb, because this is the fourth episode right now, and I still don't know how she's pronounced. But anyway, we're going to go through it after the intro. As always, it's every day, because it is amazing. And I, by the way, hope that the audio quality is good enough, since I'm not having a big blanket just in front of me, and I hope that there's not a lot of bouncing back or whatnot. And I hope that I'm also not too loud, because I'm actually quite close to the microphone. Maybe I should actually reduce it. Maybe I think this is a little tiny bit better. Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. But before I even go through the episode, there's a few things that I'm willing to talk about. The first thing is, if you're on a podcast and or on a YouTube video, or vice versa quite, there's the link to either of these two things in the description. So if you kind of feel like, well, having the YouTube video would actually be nice, if you're just at this point in time listening to the podcast, please check out the first or second link in the description, and also vice versa. So if you are on the YouTube video, but you feel like, well, actually having the podcast would actually be something that's quite amazing, then please also check out the description. The second thing is the notes. As you're then going to see in this article, I've highlighted certain parts, or I will highlight certain parts, and these parts are then going to be in a free PDF. You can download it and print it and read it and do whatever with it. So yeah, please consider checking that out. And the last one is the music. If you're willing to just have some background music, because some people want to have it, some people don't want to have it, some people want to have this music, some people want to have that music, and some people just want to have, loud music. Some want it to be more silent. It is just for me a good way to just give this to you, and you can just personalize it however you want it. Because as I said, some people just are willing to have it in this way, some are willing to have it in that way. So it is a really good way to personalize the whole experience as well. But yeah, let's actually go through the episode, I would say. And it is already down, which is amazing. So as you can see, there are the highlighted parts. They're going to be down then in the PDF when I think finished with this one, because I don't know if it is just making sense if I'm just doing it episode per episode, because I don't really think so. I don't know. I think it is a better way to just then do it after I've finished with all of them. So yeah, sit still, just be there, alone. Sit still long enough to realize it is how things really are. We are fundamentally alone. This basic truth hurts, and we want to run away from it. But coming back and relaxing with something as familiar as loneliness is a good discipline for realizing the profundity of the unresolved moments of our lives. Yes, I'd say so as well, because we are indeed alone, even though we are just birthed by our mother and whatnot. In the end, we are lonely animals. What we are doing as we progress along the path is leaving home and becoming homeless. What we are doing as we progress along the path is leaving home and becoming homeless. I don't actually know what it is willing to tell me. I really don't know, unfortunately. But I kind of feel like that it is something amazing, and that some people might be just feel like, well, yes, it is totally the truth. Even though I'm like, well, I don't really know. I don't really know if this is the quote-unquote truth, if this is what I should be looking for and whatnot. So I don't know. Maybe do just think about something completely different. Maybe do just actually think about something very specific. Then please put it down into the comments, and other people are going to be contributing off of that as well, which is amazing. Trying to deny that things are always changing, we lose our sense of the natural scheme of things. Yes, things are always changing. And they're neither changing to the good nor to the bad, I would say. Like, there's going to be both. And I think maybe it is just something that is kind of a cliche, but elderly people being like, well, just when I was young, everything was better, and everything was much nicer, and everyone was much nicer, and everything was different. Yeah, of course, everything was different, and I think it is a good thing that everything is different, or was different, and everything is different right now, because, if nothing would change, if nothing at all would change, like, wouldn't that be boring? Wouldn't that be kind of a quote-unquote nonsensical thing, since we do just want to evolve, we do just want to progress, we do just want to get better. What it is about planes, what it is about just society, what it is about whatever, we do just want to get better. And I think it is a pretty good thing that it is not as it is like 100 years ago. Of course, like, some things might be a little bit of a pity, might be actually pretty sad that some things changed, that society shifted in that way or in this way. And I might also be like, when I'm older, I'm maybe also going to be like, well, actually having this and that would be nice. But society shifts, things change, times change, and whatnot. And we have to deal with that. So yeah, it is what it is. Impermanence is meeting and parting. Parting is not parting, it's parting. It's falling in love and falling out of love. Impermanence, I think I've just read it the wrong way the first time. So impermanence, I'd say is bittersweet. Like buying a new shirt and years later finding it is a part of a patchwork quilty. I don't know what impermanence actually means. Not permanent. A lot of things are not permanent. Life is also not permanent. We are eventually gonna die. Peace is the well-being that comes when we see the infinite pairs of opposite as complementary, which is, I think, actually a pretty great definition of peace. And there's quite a funny story, or quite an interesting story. Those people that are just in class with me are gonna know the story, so I'm sorry for these people, even though there's not a lot of people that are listening to the podcast that are in my class. Anyway, my German teacher recently told us that I'm on a graphic design school, and we are normally having some sort of a test so that you can actually attend this school. You have to take the test, and if you're quote unquote good enough, then you're able to just be on a school and do whatever. The thing there's also a writing part. You have to write about something that you're wishing for, and there's also just some other parts, like you have to draw and you have to be creative and you have to do just whatever. The thing is, in the writing part, which is I think the part that she is correcting, or that she is just sometimes looking at because she can and whatnot, there's some things that she has seen, I'd say, in terms of like not a lot of people are wishing for peace any longer. Things changed. This is also what she said. Things changed in a relatively dramatic way. And I mean, like, you could blame social media, you could blame the smartphone thing, you could blame quite a lot of things, I'd say, but things just shifted. And she said that people and our kids in general aren't really able to express themselves anymore, at least not as good as we have been able to do that maybe a few years ago, which can totally be the truth. Like, I don't know. The question that I'm now having is, I do actually have to say this is one of the things that I would say like is kind of a fucked up thing, in terms of things shifting, in terms of things changing, because I often do have to say like, things change. And it doesn't necessarily have to be bad only because we think it is bad. But I think not being able to express whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to say, not being able to maybe communicate what you're willing to communicate in that way that some people are also going to understand, that is not something that's amazing. It's just actually something that's pretty fucked up, because as long as we are working with people, it is something that we need to be able to do. I don't know if it is kind of shifting in a different way that maybe my teacher thought that they are not able to do that. But since things are shifting, this is going to be the new standard. Could also be the case, which is also something that we should be thinking about. But still, not a lot of people were wishing for peace, for world peace. Not a lot of people were wishing for like really maybe frugal, if this is kind of the right adjective to use there. Maybe for some frugal things, for some things that are, I actually wanted to say common, but they're, at least at this point in time, they're not common any longer. So in past times, I guess a lot of people wished for world peace. It might be just because of like war and the World War being quite close. It might be because of the people not watching the news anymore, which is something that I don't know. I am only assuming. And there could be quite a lot of different reasons for that. But I actually feel really old right now, and I'm talking about younger people, but I'm only 19, so I'm also really young, and I'm really thankful for that, by the way. But it is quite interesting, that not such a lot of people are wishing for peace any longer. It might actually be a pretty good sign, that they're feeling well, that they're feeling good in the country, that they're feeling good in Europe, that they're feeling good in school, that they're also feeling good in their life, which is something, on the other hand, that's sometimes not quite the truth, since I think it's actually two people that been like, well, the only thing that I'm wishing for is living without my parents or some shit like that. Like, yes, I don't know what it is shifting to, but I'm really, really looking forward to that. We don't like the way reality is now, and therefore wish it would go away fast. But nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know, which is actually something pretty interesting. And it is actually not gonna go away until we have grasped whatever it is willing to tell us, because it is then always going to be around, I guess, until we've got it, until we've actually understood it, until we've actually realized whatever this thing is trying to communicate. Listening to the teachings of Buddha or practicing meditation is nothing other than studying ourselves. The reason that we are here in this world at all is to study ourselves. And, well, I don't know if it is the reason. I'd say the reason is reproduction. of the human species, I'd say, which is at least kind of the quote-unquote natural reason why we are here, even though it is quite something that's pretty fucked up, isn't it? It is quite also something that's quite interesting if you're thinking about it. Like, the only reason why we're here is that we just have to reproduce ourselves in any way or form, whatever. And even though at this point in time there is only one form, but maybe there's going to be some different forms in the future. Maybe through cloning, through whatever, we're going to see. But the thing is, and I don't know, I wouldn't say that it is our just desire. It actually is one of our desires to understand ourselves, but I think it is not our just main goal on a natural basis to understand ourselves. I think it is a kind of new goal that we're having since the whole reproducing thing got somehow like out of focus, I'd say. Because I don't know, I'm not thinking about it. I don't think that this is kind of my main goal. I by the way wonder at which age people had been able to get kids in the Stone Age. If it's been, I don't know, or if it is all, quite interesting. And how it was just going on, if it was just only raping, if it was actually love, if whatever, would actually be quite interesting. Maybe, I don't know the name, but the author of Sapiens and A Brief History of Humankind, Harari is his last name as far as I know, but I don't know his first name. Well, yeah. Honesty without kindness makes us feel grim. Grim is uninviting, stern, unapproachable, aloof, distant. Yes, it really does. If you're honest, there's two things. If you're honest, which is something that's amazing, and I do just really want to push that. Being honest to yourself and also to other people is something that's incredibly important, and we all should be doing that. But on the other hand, if you're honest all the time, but you're not able to be kind, it is not going to be such an easy life that you're going to have, I'd say, because it is difficult. It is difficult to like somebody that is really a piece of shit, but he or she is telling you the truth, which is something amazing. But on the other hand, he and or she is a piece of shit, so yeah, difficult. Being irritated by ourselves and our lives and other people's idiosyncrasies becomes overwhelming. That's why there's so much emphasis on kindness. Being irritated by ourselves and our lives and other people's idiosyncrasies, which is peculiarity, individual, personal trait, oddity, fancy, fad, vagary, notion. There's actually quite a lot of. His idiocracies include the recycling of cigar butts. Sleep patterns show a high degree of idiosyncrasy, individual, personal trait. Is it just something individuality? Yeah, I would say, yeah. And other people's individuality becomes overwhelming. That's why there's so much emphasis on kindness. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of emphasis on kindness, at least not when we are talking about things. Of course, in the end, if somebody's a piece of shit, you're not going to do anything with this particular person. But it is not really something that we're telling our kids, be kind, be a nice person. It's not really often something that we're telling our kids, at least not just in my circles. The only reason that we don't open our hearts and minds to other people is that they trigger confusion in us that we don't feel brave enough or sane enough to deal with. To the degree that we look clearly and compassionately at ourselves, we feel confident and fearless about looking into someone else's eyes. Amazing saying. The more we relate with others, the more quickly we discover where we are blocked, where we are unkind, afraid, shut down. Be soft and non-judgmental to whatever we see right at the very moment. I would say this as well, because if there's actually somebody that is quite like you, then you're also going to see the bad things relatively easily. And I think we're seeing the bad things more easily in other people than we're seeing it with ourselves sometimes. Maybe because we are not always looking into a mirror, even though you're looking into a mirror when you're just thinking and or talking and or doing something with a person that is quite like you. To relate with others compassionately is a challenge. Really communicating to the heart and being there for someone else, our child, spouse, parent, client, patient, or the homeless woman on the street, means not shutting down on that person, which means, first of all, not shutting down on ourselves. This means allowing ourselves to feel what we feel and not pushing it away. Because vulnerability and showing that you're maybe feeling something for somebody and and actually communicating in an honest way and in a real way, how you're really feeling. It is something that's incredibly powerful, actually. Because if you just imagine it, somebody is actually honestly telling you that he or she is just really sorry for whatever happened in your life, and you actually feel it because she means it. It is something amazing. It is just being vulnerable, and this is something amazing, because there's a lot more connections that you can make with a person that is trying to, quote unquote, to be more vulnerable. Only in an open space where we are not all caught up in our own vision of reality can we see and hear and feel who others really are. which allows us to be with them and communicate with them properly. I'm not always agreeing with that, and I think it is just mainly she's referring to open office spaces, I'd say. Kinda. I don't know why I think about that, but I kind of feel it is about that. But I'm not quite sure about that. And I do not always want to say that it is the case, but it could be. I don't like it that much. I think that having a personal space is also something, like both. I would say both is something amazing. If you would be able to just combine open office spaces with quite a lot of private, quote unquote, life or private time or private whatever, I think it would actually make everything quite better, because I don't know, having some privacy is also something quite nice, even though privacy in the end is not such a big deal for humankind. Even though we're often talking about it, and even though we are all concerned about our privacy, but in the end, we're actually giving a fuck about it. Because if you would really be concerned about our privacy, then we wouldn't be using credit cards. We wouldn't be using quite a lot of things that we are still using. But yeah, I think that this is going to be the end of the episode. So I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, which basically means just being a nice person and then being remembered as a nice person. Yeah, with that being said, I'll hopefully see you the next time. And 3 questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? And these 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. So yeah, I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. And I wish you a good day. I'll see you.